Can you send me a link? please?
Yes.
It's like a live off the grid chart.
I didn't see you had on your.
Yeah.
You doing?
The kids playing soccer in the fall.
Yeah, yeah, I think the last game's on November third.
That's why I put my
That's no
jacket
fun.
on.
Yeah, when they start indoor.
I can remember playing when it snowed.
Yeah, but they got a couple tournaments coming up, or end of November. Beginning, one, Brooklyn got one in the beginning of December, so there's always a chance.
I remember like wearing a turtleneck underneath and like.
We went to Virginia Beach one year and it was snowing sideways. And then the next year we went there, same tournament, and we jumped in the ocean. We jumped in the ocean because it was 75 in December. you know.
I didn't. Sir?
Oh, this is old, but I.
Thanks, Mr. Black.
At all? Hi, Melinda.
Got all games, you know.
Miss Diane, you know, I've been on that map. But I was right.
What's the, like, how long have you been out of this?
We starting on
It
time.
depends on what I'm charging.
We got 3
Usually I
minutes.
use it
See
to
about
charge
3
my
minutes to
laptop
get
if
here.
I'm like traveling while I'm working, then I probably can get $5.
It's like,
They said as long as.
I mean, that don't really matter. I do that. I was like, I remember
4 or 3.
having a second battery.
That would be helpful.
That way, like, you didn't have to have all the cord
Right.
Well, we're talking about how you're gonna breathe.
I feel like I rather have a battery.
That way we won't have to go into the emergency close.
I mean, the batteries are like battery.
Yeah. We're getting along.
Hello, Miss Melinda. How you doing today?
Marshall, 2 pages.
I think, Andrew, I think if what we move to, move our meetings to one work session. Cause I really got thinking about that, and I'm just like, people really don't have an adequate opportunity to give us.
Some
our thoughts.
mysterious
To
spot.
give us their thoughts outside of the public hearing that happens after we've done all the work. So I think that we should open up our closed session to our work session, sorry. Work sessions to public comment after each item, but they have to only talk about that particular item. And approval of the agenda probably needs to start going on. Going on our agenda. We don't have to do that.
You all look to read your agenda. It's not what I thought.
Careful, Barkley.
It all depends on like, it's not like that's a very like there's a world where like, okay, Robert's rules, the chair doesn't vote. It's like, you guys set your agenda, the open meetings after you publish it, so you've already set your agenda, you're not. I don't think you need to hear that.
Okay. Now, do we have to, can you look and check if we would have to amend the charter for that?
big flags that says open, because nobody knows from there when we're open. And so every time that we are, like, Fourth Friday, that flag, that is out by the sign, at least to try to attract a little attention there by that sign.
In regard to the length of the lease, I would be in favor of having the year lease with an automatic renewal. And maybe add in verbiage that says that we would just give either party, however many days notice if we want to break the lease. So an automatic renewal every subsequent 12 months.
Like that.
In terms of the maintenance that our attorney spoke of, yeah, I think $100 portion of that is probably a little low. I'd like to see that, doubled to 200, prior to get the city involved, because $100 don't carry you very far. Gentlemen spend that much on batteries.
Do you have any recommendations to add?
I'm in favor of the yearly lease, like, Councilwoman Cotton said. I guess my only tough part with it is, that when the Puma Training Club showed interest or whatever, I think I reached out to Mr. Becker about it, because I mean, ideally, it's a natural fit, I feel like, to have the training club in the train station in Pocomoke. It's hard to believe it's been 4 years since that took place, and I did not realize it was gonna take that long to get where we're at. And that's not to try to discredit any of the work you guys have done in the building, or whatever, but I guess I was ignorant in the length of time it was gonna take to get up and running. So, and other organizations come to us for meeting spots as well. Like the Junior Women's Club and other nonprofits, and a lot of them use the log cabin. That's the tricky part with you guys, is it's not something you can just meet about. You got a whole setup, you can't take it down, because that's where the time is dedicated, so it makes it a little bit of a trickier situation. But if we can get the education part of it and connect with the school somehow so that there's more use for the public. And I'm not saying you guys aren't doing everything you can. I'm not saying you guys aren't volunteering or any of that, but it's almost, to outside looking in, it could almost be like a free building for a train club, and there's other clubs in this town that have reached out that want something similar, and that we don't have that space for them, so it's the only that's the only thing that I hesitate with, is because, like I said, it's been 4 years. And I'm not saying there hasn't been work done in there or whatever, but the community involvement with the train club, I don't think is where I expected it to be, or probably you guys expected it to be in 4 years' time. So I'm hoping in the future we're reaching out to these schools and getting some education and being in the books like Mr. Luty talked about. I think all that is good stuff. I just like to see it come to fruition. I know you guys would too. But
One of the things that I've learned in elected office, and in every organization that I've been a part of, is that you can't wait for people to come to you. You have to go to them. And I've told every nonprofit this in Pocomoke City, from the Costin House to the Sturgis one-room schoolhouse, to the Delmarva Discovery Center, to the former Young Ladies and Gents. You have to go out and find these people. People are only passionate about what they know. We have to teach them something different. If you want people to be passionate about what you're passionate about, you have to find them. You have to engage them. I don't know anything about trains, but what I do know is that my grandfather worked on the railroad most of his life. When the Great Pocomoke Flood happened, my grandfather was on that river There used to be a picture of him in the Delmarva Discovery Center. It was the Discovery Center back then. He was taking lumber off of a train during the Great Pocomoke Flood. That's what I do know. I have a personal connection. Never touched a train before in my life, never rode on a train, but besides the metro. But when you're able to make those types of connections with people and you're able to pull those stories out. Mr. Becker, think about how many times you've been before us. You served on our recreation committee. You've never heard me talk about that before. But when you're able to pull those stories out of people, you're able to get them involved. And it's not about your membership growing. It is about increasing the quality of life, having something that people look forward to. So my ask to you is to not just go into the schools, but figure out a way to attract people that aren't in the schools. You all could be the change that this city needs to see. There could be a young man or a young woman that is teeter-tottering between the right thing and the wrong thing. We want them to choose the right thing. But if they have nothing to look forward to, how can we expect them to do that? You all could be a part of that right thing to look forward to. So please go find them. They're out there. Much like these city committees, we complain about people not signing up. Guess what? They're out there. I never would have thought Nola Teller would have been one of the best people on our planning and zoning commission. Not because of anything about her, but she wasn't here. I don't know how we got her in here, but she wasn't here.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah, but she wasn't here. But somehow we found her. And she's the person that sits here and helps make decisions about the Starbucks that's coming and the rental units that are coming to the town. And that's just a small, those are just two small things that I know we've been kind of looking at. But even down to zoning, maybe a year ago, or 2 years ago tops, we were talking about the brewery, right? We had never had a brewery in Pocomoke City before. It was unheard of here. We didn't have code and zoning for a brewery, but we found people like Nola and CL, and look at him now. And look at him now.
Oh,
So it's about going and finding these people. It's about diversifying. Because who you all can attract, Brooke may be able to attract someone different, not because of her skin color, but because of her interest, because of your interest. Now I saw some of y'all look funny. I'm not talking about race. But the truth of the matter is, if we wanted to talk about it, there are no Black people here with you all tonight.
me and Scott sitting down here with two white people in the end.
But the point that I'm making is we want to see everybody and they have the ability. I just seen some faces when I said Brooke could possibly attract. I wanted to make it clear that I was not talking about race.
Younger.
I'm talking about age. I'm talking about interest. We want to see everybody. We want to see everything. And I think that's the way that you all will be even more successful than you have been now. I didn't get to the Discovery Center, but I saw pictures from last year and it was amazing.
It's very good. And the good thing, and the other great thing about you guys is that you all are upstanding citizens and like the mayor mentioned earlier, one of the few people that actually got insurance out on something. And I don't have to go by there and check on the building and see what kind of condition it is. It's not something I worry about. It's one less thing off my plate. So
For the first time with that
I
building,
know
we
the
never
building's
had to
taken
worry.
care of. I know I don't have anything to worry about out there. So, there's a lot of positives to what you guys are doing too.
Let's add to them.
So we want to review the changes that the council has made. I didn't get all of them down. I know that Brooke, Scott, and CL said that they want to see a 12-month lease. CL said that he wants things to be covered after $200.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Were there any others?
Signage.
Signage.
How many,
Now,
how many
was-
times have you guys had to claim anything for repairs over $100? Cause that's what it sits at now. Had to do anything, yeah, I don't remember anything.
Things that need to be done.
No, can I?
And stuff like that. but-
If you would rather me ask you this question after the meeting, just tell me you'll answer me after the meeting. Do you have the money for signage? Or would you like to discuss your finances after the meeting? So would you be asking the city to help you with some signage?
Either the city or maybe a volunteer or somebody we know, maybe that's the thing. This is the way, obviously, if you have a little design, you gotta have to approve it, the city property, but it.
So I think what my next question needs to be is, do y'all want to become an entity of the city? So I do think that we should provide some sort of signage there. I think that, it is our responsibility. We can't sit here and ask them to do a whole bunch of stuff and then not be willing to help, where we can. So, Mr. Becker, I don't know who you all would designate. Can you get with Mr. Barkley and Ms. Stafford about some signage?
Yeah, it's not a problem, Betty's handles. All our communication.
And if you miss,
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a board meeting and say, okay, what do we want to solidify, we can go from there.
and Miss Betty, I don't know if you met our city manager, Mr. Barkley, but, if there's any, whatever needs repaired out there, just let him know and it'll come across they should come across to us and we can see what we can get done.
We had some serious leaking on one side of the building, but we had reported that to maintenance people and such over time, and then last winter, beginning of winter, we actually covered that in the building with a big tarp to keep any more leakage. We don't want it to be dirty, but we have reported it probably 2 or 3 times, I'm thinking. So there is some consideration for not letting it deteriorate anymore, I guess is what I'm saying, you know. We're comfortable in there, we've taken care of the leakage problem, but temporarily, it does need some fascia, painting, minimal, very minimal things outside of that. You know, at that one end, we do have an issue, so we.
And that which is cool, those windows are starting to come out.
So
Just cover the whole works.
something else that the city has started doing, is the city should be doing inspections of these buildings at least twice a year.
Lose once a year.
It really boils my brisket when people that are renting these buildings come to us and they say, we have a leak or something, this is not acceptable. It's not acceptable. If the city owns the building, it is the city's responsibility to fix it. And we cannot always say, well, they should have told us. No, the city should be inspecting these buildings. That's the reason why we're paying all of this money for the Discovery Museum right now. Not at the fault of the Discovery Museum, but at the fault of the city because of its negligence. That's the reason why we're going through all of this mess concerning the reverter clause for the Salvation Armory. Not the police department's fault, City Hall's fault. We've got to do better. So, what day can y'all let somebody in? And I don't want anybody to come in and look at the property without y'all being there, because that's also unacceptable.
Yeah,
I hope you all out with the wastewater and the water stuff, so I have communication, so Bill East has my phone number. Just tell him to call me.
they would like. Can you hear me now? So publication 15B, Employer's Tax Guide to Fringe Benefits. Take-home vehicles are not considered to be an excludable de minimis benefit, meaning the commuting miles to and from work are tax deductible and are to be reported on W-2s. That's not something that can be overrode.
We're tax deductible for the city,
No, it's taxable for the
so
employee.
it's taxable, not tax deductible.
Yes, it is taxable to the employee to the extent. So if you have an employee right now who goes 30 miles, let's say both ways is 30 miles. It's 30 miles times the number of days. So 5 days a week.
67 cents.
Yep, at 67 cents.
60, that's what it is now?
That's what it is. That's 2024, and that number will change each year depending on what the IRS sets. Also, so that's something that we will kind of need to let the employee to decide, because for some of them, that's a different tax, could be a different tax
67 cents per mile.
per mile.
That reflects gas costs, wear and tear in the vehicle.
Yep.
So like, sometimes people go, I'll go to a conference, I'll take my own car, make $150. And gas is only 30, but offset, but it's recognizing the oil change, the wear and tear,
Fair.
things of that nature.
So that 30-mile round trip equates to just over $20.
So, just for once, so I have a specific, so if we have someone that does 63.8 miles based off of 260 days, their total mileage for the year is 16,588 miles. Think about that, those miles put onto a city vehicle. And then you times that by 67 cents. That's $11,113.96.
So what you're saying is the employee would receive a W-2 or 1099 for that amount?
It would be included on their W-2 as a fringe benefit.
How have we handled that in the past?
So I can't speak for the past, I only can speak for now. And it's something that it has to be done. That's not something that we can override.
The only exception is law enforcement.
Yes, as law enforcement. That's the only exception.
So
EMS?
the thing about it is prior to,
It's a lot.
prior, the only take-home vehicles that we had were police department vehicle, public works, and city manager. So it really, go ahead.
I just wanna make sure I understand this right. So it's only for if they're, like, when they're traveling from work to home and back.
Yeah.
It's not like if they take the car to a conference, if Mr. East takes the car to Ocean City for a meeting on public works or whatever.
That's totally different. But if they're doing it back home here, vice versa, or even they're going to the store, any type of other personal use.
Outside of work.
Outside of work, it is taxable to them.
Okay.
So if Mr. East were to, well, you know where he lives, he lives in Beaumont. I don't know.
Can we not talk about, can we say like
Yeah.
Mr. Smith or something?
So
We're not talking about-
Mr.
Yeah.
It's not about.
I'm
Bill
sorry,
or
CO
anything like that.
wasn't here, no name.
No names.
If Mr. Smith,
Hypothetical.
hypothetical, we were talking about Bill and.
Use your last name, CO.
Mr. Marshall.
Yes.
Has a time vehicle,
Mhm.
and I live in Snow Hill,
Mhm.
or, Snow Hill. And my first stop is a work-related stop at a
Mhm.
parts store.
Mhm.
Then the only mileage then that would be taxable to the employee
Mhm.
would be the mileage from his house to that parts store.
To the park store. Yep. So we really do need to be really careful, and it is very important that we actually track the mileage on these vehicles going forward. And that Melinda has started tracking the mileage on the vehicles going forward. As far as, I know you mentioned the EMS vehicle. So back in, I'm sorry. So fuel, so that's the other thing, they don't pay for fuel. Fuel is, they are only supposed to get gas at the Pocomoke Gas Creek.
Goose Creek.
Goose
and
Creek.
Arby's.
So they have to enter their mileage there.
No, so,
I do know that Cato Oil provides a service free of charge
Mhm.
for fleet maintenance accounts,
Mhm.
that they track the mileage and they handle all that for us.
well, the way that they do it, we do have Cato. But the way that it's done is that when they pull up, the only time that that person will actually turn on the pump for them, that city seal has to be on the vehicle. And each department has its own 4-digit code to put in, not necessarily their mileage. And when I receive the bill, I cannot necessarily tell you which, I can tell you what department, but I can't tell you which vehicle until they turn in their actual gas receipts.
With that Cato program that they have, each individual vehicle, each individual driver has their own unique 4-digit PIN.
Mhm,
So, and I know this because I talked to Buddy Reese about it
mhm.
with Reese Transport. He spends about 18,000 a week in gas. So he's got a firm handle on it. And each individual driver, cardholder has an individual PIN. So, and the mileage has to be included in that sale. That might be something you look at.
Yeah, so maybe I can talk to, I can't remember what her name is,
I got it, but I'll send it to you.
to see if we can change, instead of a code that they have to put, that they have a specific PIN, but they also have to put in the mileage. That way I can tell which vehicle is actually filling
I
up,
want to know who's driving.
driving.
Yeah, because if Scott and I got the same, we're splitting the vehicle, if somebody's using it.
Yeah.
That way we can track it by driver, and I think that when we look at abuse of those things,
Mhm,
it's the driver, it's the.
Bingo.
mhm.
Not the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah, because we do, I mean, like I said, I can't really distinctly tell until I actually receive the bill. And it's harder with the police department because there are a lot of police vehicles, so you will see like 6 or 7, like back to back, but it's different.
And they're generally driving around all the time.
Yes.
I have, and there needs to be some sort of notation because we do know that vehicles break down. People have to switch out trucks. So we do want everybody to have their own code, but we also want to be able to keep track of when people are switching vehicles.
Vehicles.
And I think they'll tell you about that. It's a good program.
CL, can you help her out?
Yeah, sure. I love our program.
I'm sorry, Mr. Marshall.
Be happy to.
If you don't get me on no ethics complaint, okay?
Let's get the code of conduct done first.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. let's
It
go.
says we gotta call each other by our official title.
Don't call me Scott.
Where we at?
All right, so
Thank
you're welcome. You talked about the EMS vehicle. So I went back and I pulled the minutes from June 20th of 22. And page 3 of those minutes, ARPA funding obligation update, item 7, EMS SUV. Specifically, I'm bringing this up because of what it was purchased with. It was purchased with ARPA money. And its intended purpose was a specific intended purpose, never intended to ever be a take-home vehicle.
That particular vehicle.
That particular vehicle. Item 7,
Does that mean it can't be? If it
Oh,
wasn't,
there's no other vehicles that are available.
yes.
okay,
The EMS is in need of a reliable EMS vehicle. The current vehicle is over mileage and cost prohibitive for upcoming repairs. The odometer is broken, so there is no valid way to get true mileage. Unlike the current Crown Victoria, this vehicle needs to be an all-weather vehicle that can handle heavy rains, ice storms, and other inclement weather. Issues with driving safety. There is a need for patient sheltering to treat patients in a controlled environment on the back road, off-road capabilities, ample storage, space, and command center capabilities for emergency locations. This would allow for a triage station to be supported during emergency events with mass casualty. There is currently a 12 to 18-month waiting list. However, Ocean City was able to find us one that is on the lot. Approximate costs are estimated to be around $50,000. Currently, there is a shortage of vehicles. So going down, it was motioned, proposed ARPA obligations list of funding by, at that time, Trost and Knock. All, no one opposed, and the motion was carried. And at that time, Trost, Downing, Tar, and Knock all
You were
approved.
absent.
So at no time when that was proposed, that it was ever supposed to be a take-home vehicle. It is for a specific purpose. And it has been, so the other issue with that, because it was ARPA money, it was reported as such to the Department of Treasury. If we choose to make that a take-home vehicle, we must pay back the ARPA funds.
Wow.
So then it's gonna take a meeting.
And then we also have to restate prior year's financial statements. Because then we have to let them know that that was not one of our actual revenue for federal funding. And even in our handbook, even prior to this policy, it doesn't really necessarily state that those vehicles, it's an in case of an emergency, like an emergency situation, that they should be taken home.
What's clarified as an emergency?
See, that's the thing, what's declared as an emergency.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think that for the vehicle policy, we probably shouldn't jump right into it tonight.
Yes,
I think that it's a lot of legal stuff that we need to allow Andrew to handle. It's a lot of, personnel conversations, that we need to allow Mr. Barkley to handle. Especially when I hear that someone has over 30 tickets in a city vehicle. And it's gotten to the point where said tickets cannot be voided anymore. It is alarming to me. It's like, it's almost hustling backwards. We have a police department here. Our citizens are complaining about speeding in every single neighborhood of this town, complaining about it. I see it on Facebook. I can't go to Walmart. I can't even walk my little doggy down the street without someone talking about speeding to me. 4th Street is a Daytona 500. I have to literally pick up my dog, and I'm not saying this for personal, I'm not saying, this has nothing to do with me, but I just want to paint the scope. I literally have to pick up my dog, and Chris, I saw on Facebook that you have a golden doodle, so we need to talk. So I literally have to pick TK up and hold him until I can clip his leash on him, with fear that he's gonna take off towards the street and someone is plowing down, and God forbid they don't see him, and then that. because we still reserve the right to utilize the second and the fourth, but I ain't trying to go. I lost.
Does council want public comment on the work session
So,
agenda?
yes, so now for each item on our work session agenda, so don't pile us up. But now for each item, I want to do comment, because ultimately, the issue that we've run into down through the years is when we talk about something in the work, even if we have a work session, it's no public comment. Then it goes right to the legislative meeting and we have a first reading, which we don't even make comment, right? Then we goes to a second reading, we make comment and have a public hearing, but by the time we get to the public hearing, our minds are made up.
And there's
You
so,
know-
and there's so much value in public comment,
Right.
or
Tremendous value.
they're really capable.
Right.
Now, I would ask that, and of course, I guess I'm in charge of the meeting. So I would ask that if people are going to comment, that they sign up for comment for our work sessions. So it's just not a free-for-all. However, it's going to call for city staff to get more information out concerning what we're going to be talking about. So board docs never called us back. Or maybe they did try to reach us and they weren't. I never heard back from them. I love board docs.
Not just on your agenda, what's happening, but then because I may not know that particular topic, because I've only covered them since June, I could go in and read more specifically about it, so that would be really helpful. Something similar to whatever.
So if it's a worthy investment, and basically we wouldn't be receiving all of the stuff we receive in an email. It would be nice, neat, and organized on an online server. If y'all want at a later time, because I'm going home. But if y'all want, the Maryland Municipal League utilizes board docs. And so I have my login and I'll show you how it looks. But it was something that we have mentioned multiple times,
Yeah,
and we
I'm
finally,
on board with it.
we did make a call to them, but I don't know if I gave them my number, Melinda's number, John's number. I don't know, I might have given them your number, Scott.
I haven't got any calls.
Well, you know, if something pops up as spam, I'm not answering it. Because I am tired of the text messages that I'm getting.
Mentioning logging in, so you must see something different, but I use it as just a reporter. So I just got public access. So it's something that just.
I really think that's good, where the public can actually have access to see it as well.
They would not just see what's on the agenda, but learn a little bit more, so they have questions.
Absolutely.
More insight, the better.
So can we make another call? And just sign us up. You know, look at what meets our need best and just go ahead and sign us up. They'll send someone down here to train all of us to use it. I don't need the training, and y'all are smart people. I don't think y'all need it either.
Yeah, right.
Are you ready for a motion to adjourn? Andrew, do you have anything?
No, great productive meeting. I think you have a guidance on how to proceed.
So my next question to you all is in regards to our work session. Do we want our next meeting to be a work session? Or do we want it to be a regular mayor and council meeting? So the meeting in November.
When is it in November?
Can't wait to see what they had,
Actually, let me.
November 4th.
If I may, Mayor, your next meeting is next week.
Is it the
Monday.
23rd?
No, the next meeting would
Another work
be,
session?
Yeah.
no, we don't have any more meetings for the month, do we?
Yeah,
It's another work session.
we have a regular
It's
meeting.
a weird month. The 21st is the third Monday.
Okay.
We haven't had our two regular meetings in
21st,
October
the
yet.
third Monday.
Yeah, and our meeting will be on November 4th, that's, isn't that election, that's.
So we wanna do we wanna put the work session at the third meeting and regular meeting at the top of the month.
Yeah, because we need to pay the bills.
Well, we're gonna pay the bills.
We're gonna pay the bills on the work
Yeah.
session too.
I'll give you that.
We're gonna pay the bills and advertise.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Good.
What
Good.
makes it easier for you, Melinda? I'm sorry, Mrs. Todd.
Here we have MML the rest of the week, so the next Monday, we find would be that.
Oh,
Because the conference is later on that week. So we come back, the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, November.
okay.
We're here, this is Veterans Day.
That's Veterans Day, 11/11.
I believe
But
it
in
actually is
retrospect, in November and December, we were only supposed to have one meeting a month anyway, so, It worked.
Why don't we just wait to see what they have
okay.
for that meeting
works.
and figure out
So
which way to go.
we will, let's do this. The third Monday is the 18th. So our next meeting, period, will be on the 18th. Because we were doing one meeting in November and one meeting in December anyway.
Mhm.
And if in December we need to kind of like backtrack, we can. And have two meetings, but November 18th. I won't be here. I've got a work conference, but y'all can handle it.
So is there a meeting, just updating my calendar, is there a meeting next Wednesday, next Monday, the 21st?
You know what? Yes, we need to pay the bills.
Yeah,
Even if we have to do it virtually, we need to pay the bills.
next Monday. Yeah, that's fine.
And then the meeting in November will be the 18th.
Yes.
All right, I will have,
So Brandy, get as many bills as you can into us. Cause we ain't coming back until November 18th. If there are pre-existing bills, if there are fixed bills, put them on now.
You
All right, can I get a
want
motion?
my motion?
I make a motion that we adjourn this work session.
A second?
All those in favor use the sound aye.
Aye.
Those that oppose, you have the same right. Brooke, if you don't want to talk to you.
Hey, Brandy, I have,
You smiling?
I want to talk to Brooke and see.
Okay.
I have. It was wonderful. I've never been to that part of Florida before, that 38 border from Dallas to Daniel. And